ladies. I want to start off by telling a couple stories about business before I get into my talk, and I think really quickly you'll see where my point is before I get there, because it's meant to kind of disrupt the way we handle our business, because we may not be working the most efficiently on our business. Maybe we're on Instagram a little too much. Maybe we've ignored our email list. Maybe we haven't started that. Maybe we've never used Pinterest. Maybe we've never used YouTube. And those are the biggest drivers to your website. And so I want to talk about customer service for a little bit, and then it'll make sense after. I'm not even going to tell you who I am until that. All you know is my name is Annie. So this man and his wife went to a restaurant, and him and his executive team have gone to this restaurant every month, and they spend about $500. And one day his wife decides to come with them without the team. And what happened was, she said, you know what I've been really wanting to try? I want to try one of those fried eggs on a pizza. And he was like, great, let's work. I mean, we've been here so often. So brings the wait staff over, and he said, hey, can you get my wife a fried egg? And they're like, oh, sorry, we don't do that. And it's not a place that they don't serve eggs. It's just that he said that they just wanted to reserve the eggs for the egg and waffle deal. So the man was like, I know, but she really wants an egg, and can you make it happen? There's like a Whole Foods across the street. And he's like, sorry, sir. So of course, what he's gonna do? He's gonna ask the manager, right? You'd ask the manager maybe. So the manager comes by, and the manager agrees with the waitstaff and says, we reserve those eggs for our waffle special, and the restaurant's empty. So they're not looking at the client sitting in front of them. So anyway, they get up and they go over to Whole Foods, and she still wants that egg, and so she just goes to the pizza counter, and she talks to the woman behind the counter, and she says, do you think I can get a fried egg? You know, because they make breakfast. And she's like, yeah, I can't see why not. And so she's like, but let me just check with my chef. And she goes back there, and they're like, how easy is that, right? Just, it's not in front of them, but she decided to delight the customer. So she goes back, and when she comes back, it's not only did she give a fried egg, she said, the chef wanted to know, did you want that egg on top of your pizza or on the side? Like, the attention to detail was crazy, right? So needless to say, the gentleman ended up writing a column about this $6,000 egg, because $500 from 12 months. And the restaurant didn't respond. The restaurant never responded. It turned into a book and went viral. It's called the $6,000 egg. And it's all about service and touch points and delighting your customers and your clients. And from what it sounds like everyone is an independent contractor, or do people here have a staff? Like people who report to you? Because I can cut out all that part of my talk. Okay, fair enough. So the other part of business is, how are we extending ourselves? How are we giving our customers the best experience? How are we getting them to talk about us? What are we doing, right? And if we're not doing that because we're busy and we haven't decided to focus on really what matters, why is that? Have we not? Are we perfectionists? This is an interactive thing, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So who here is a recovering or still an in denial perfectionist? Perfect. Have you ladies heard of the idea of B- work? Because I love this idea. Brooke Castillo is going to be your new podcast bestie. She's fantastic, and I caught wind of her. And speaking of besties, I have besties like Marianne Williamson, Oprah. You know, I create my own circle of, I mean, not in real life, but I create my own circle of, you know, how people vibe and what I'm hearing and what I'm ingesting and what content I have. And where was I going with this?
The B-.
Yeah, thank you. Marianne, she and I and Christy are doing Whole30, which is 30 days of no sugar, no grains, no alcohol, no legumes.
Wow.
So we're just kind of here. But we talk fast and have a lot of energy. So B- work is basically the idea of what it sounds like, is that we as perfectionists want to deliver A+ superior work. We want to only get things out there if it's perfect. We want our flyer to knock your socks off. We want our website and our fonts to look so good. Or it just doesn't happen because oh, by the way, will I offend anybody if I swear? Because I don't want to. Okay. Because we're mind-fucking ourselves that this stuff is going to happen. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you're...
Oh, God.
Okay, good.
I'm from New York.
No, because you're like...
I'm from New York.
Okay, great.
Shocked me.
That
It takes so
alone.
much to shock me. That's what I
Yeah,
meant.
so we are like mind-fucking ourselves that it's really going to happen. All of a sudden it's a month, 2 months, 3 months, and the email list is dormant. And we all know, by judge of hands, email marketing is so important, right? We all know that. We've ever heard it, you know, preach all that stuff. But we're not spending time on it. And maybe we're on social media. Who's guilty of spending more time on social media, not business related, than necessary. Anybody by the show of hands? Okay, so guess what? When you die, no one's gonna give you an award that she was, or stand in your eulogy and be like, she was so good on social media. She really just spent all her time comparing herself and feeling like crap. You know, so it's not a place where I feel is the best time, and I'm really here to disrupt you in thinking about how are you spending your time? Because my whole presentation is how are we gonna find 30 minutes to ourselves every single day. Even if you're not a mom, you can go in this rabbit hole of business and you think you're really working, but maybe you aren't really, you're not being effective at what you really need to do. And so what I see is when we have our own businesses, it's really easy to kind of not really run a business, like versus when you have to show up 9 to 5. People will know when you're there, people will know when you log out and all that stuff. So my background is I am a pharmacist, but I have retired, so no more drugs. I did that for 12 years, and you know, and I just want to talk a little bit candidly about things like money and mindset about money and self-care and so forth, because at the end of the day, you can always make more money, you can't make more time. You can always make more money, you can't make more time. And everything that Beth is saying, progress over perfection, done is better than perfect, these are the things that I live by. You know, things like Gary Vaynerchuk, people all know him. Yeah. The philosophies of these. And this is what I'm saying. If you do not have time to read books, then you really need to, I recommend, you know, delegate, empower, or refer things out, okay? Or what's it called? Delegate?
Outsource.
No. Outsource. Sorry. Yeah. Whole 30 moment. And so if you read 20 pages a day, every single day, you can go through 20 books a year. And if you go through 20 books a year, can you imagine where your mind will be? You can learn Cantonese, not that I'm Chinese, but you can learn anything. You can learn all these different things that are important to you. And so that is what is really important, to find that time. But Annie, I just don't have that time.
What's the top book you
We wanted to know about the other.
Oh yes, sorry. Girl, Wash Your Face.
Awesome.
Great.
Is that a good book?
Yes.
Her
Very good. Her sequel is Girl, Stop Apologizing. But
That hasn't even come out yet, right?
Yeah, it has not. Another Gary Vee person, and I'm gonna talk a lot about this.
Oh,
yes. Okay. I'm gonna talk about that. And then
some of us don't know about that.
Okay, that's awesome. And then a gratitude journal. Yeah. So I'm here to tell you about how I was a pharmacist, and then I'm a pharmacist turned lifestyle photographer turned mom, community person. Because I'm not a coach, and I'm not calling myself a leader, because I feel that a friend of mine actually said something really beautiful to me. I said, I just want women at the table, you know, to have a seat at the table and feel their worthiness and feel their glory and stand in that light. And he said, well, you are the table. So however that is, maybe I'm the table of my company, I have no idea. But it started very recently, actually at the beginning of the year. And so I'll share my story with you without hopefully getting too emotional. But so I was a pharmacist for 10 to 12 years. And you know, out of the gates, you finish a residency, you make 6 figures as your first job as a 28-year-old, purchased a house as a 30-year-old now. And now that I'm 44, I have to, because I'm an entrepreneur, I have to be like, do I paint my nails and my toes, or do I just not do, you know, pay for manicure, pedicure, because that's an expense, and I'm making my own money, and I don't have the luxury of doing that because, you know, money isn't steady, right? So I have kind of seen where I made mistakes in starting different businesses. I used to cater very randomly. I used to do those candy stations, catered like a 400-person thing before. And what I found is that what I really want every woman to have is their best self and in their zone of genius. And if you can focus on what you and only you can do in your business, then work on your business and don't be in your business, right? And that's something that you've heard before. So, pharmacist, and then I got engaged to a French guy, blonde, blue eyes, like met in Paris, was shooting a wedding, and he broke up with me, he called off the wedding about, I think, 6 months before. Yeah, no, it's good. There's a good story. So he called off the wedding, and I had booked a boudoir. Do you guys know a boudoir? Like, sexy photos for him. So I called the studio and I said, hey, I don't want to do this boudoir session anymore. And they said, sorry, you know, we can't cancel. So they're like, just come in anyway. And I was like, pretty much at the lowest part of my life. So I went and got my hair and makeup done and wore sweaters and, you know, I had jeans on. It was just so fun, and I just felt so empowered, and I felt so good about that experience. So I decided I wanted to open a photography studio, because why wouldn't I? Because it's random, just like a squirrel. We're like squirrel mates, right? So I would lease, a space in Culver City near Tito's Tacos, which is fantastic, and didn't have a business plan, and got in love with this idea of empowering women, because if you weren't, where's my photographer? If you're not a bride, or if you're not a mama, you're not gonna get photos of yourself. So I wanted to empower myself, who was 34 at the time, that you deserve portraits, right? Long story short, I closed down the studio because 2 weeks after I leased it, I found out I was pregnant. And after my son came, all I wanted to do was stare at him. And so I didn't quit. I was with Kaiser Permanente, so I didn't quit Kaiser just then. But then my son had a medical condition such that we needed to have me stay at home. So then I decided I'm gonna make this photography thing work, and I want to empower women. As a mother, I then wanted to empower moms, and then I felt like moms don't give themselves enough time in front of the camera because they feel not camera ready, they feel overweight, they feel all these other things that don't mean anything to the child who's going to look at your picture when you're long and gone. They want to capture your season. Okay, so that was happening, right? And then in 2017, it was just a train wreck of my life. My dad passed away. My father-in-law passed away. My nanny passed away. Just freak case of meningitis, and they were all in the hospital at the same time. December of 2016, and they passed in 2017. And subsequently, I had a miscarriage the day of my dad's funeral. After he passed, my mom got cancer, and I just had another miscarriage in May, late April. So, those people that have a life thing that happens to them, and they're just like, gosh, life is short. Can you imagine how I feel sitting where I feel? Life is fucking short. Yeah. It is so short. It is so beyond, we have to, ladies, embrace this. This is not a dress rehearsal, what we're doing here in our life, or in our business, or with our money, our relationships. This is not a dress rehearsal. So I have this fire under me, and I just want to give you some flames, okay? So you can do this self-care. And self-care is so important, because if you don't, as a manager at Kaiser, it is so important that you take care of yourself so that you can take care of others, right? We know that, and what does that mean? What that means is something like B- work, meaning you can apply this B- theory, meaning you don't have to give out A+ stuff, whether it's a flyer or a talk or whatever. Maybe my talk today is B-. I didn't get a chance to do notes, but I knew that I was gonna come, and I knew that I was gonna talk from a place of vulnerability, a place where I hope to disrupt your idea that you do not have time for yourself, because I will call it bullshit. You can find 30 minutes every day for yourself, okay? The idea of progress or perfection, I won't go over that. And then to find a morning routine. These are ways for you to have that self-care so that you can run your business the best. That way you can spend time on, smart social media marketing, on, YouTube, and having an evergreen product, on networking, and having white space just to gel out and be creative. It's so important that we have that. And so the morning routine, for those who don't know, is this miracle morning rather. And I'll be honest with you, to find an hour in a day to do this is hard, as I have a 3 and a 4-year-old. So I kind of do 30 minutes of this. And on some days, maybe I do it in my head, and maybe I do for 10 minutes. But basically, it is a practice in the morning that you do, and a lot of it has to do with gratitude. Do any of you practice gratitude, journaling, and all that? So I know that there's this term, like woo-woo, right? I'm like woo. I'm not. You're woo. Oh wow, yeah, really woo woo. Because I'm like, hey, can we hang out tonight? She's like, well, I don't know. With the moon, can you the water, and the squirrel has to come out of the tree, and maybe no, I don't know. Just
and it wasn't in the cards though.
It wasn't in the cards. But so because of my journey with devastation, I really have turned it into looking at how to take care of myself. And gosh, squirrel. Avenue Mama, to make this full circle, is the avenue of self-care and self-love and self-compassion, which is the community that I started because I recognized that during that time of devastation, it was my mom friends that dropped off groceries, that realized that I needed maybe extra childcare hands, that told me to go see my dad and not worry about preschool pickup. And so driving up and down PCH for 6 months on his final days, I said, I never wanted to do pharmacy ever again because it wasn't my best self. Photography I loved, and I still will always, but I kind of feel like in my zone of genius, I'm pretty good at bringing people together and making them feel safe and seen, and I was like, how can I do that? So I just started sharing the ugly part of motherhood, like the dry shampoo days, or like that my marriage was hard, or anything. And I created this, this community, and now we have events, and we have speakers, and we have some women in here from that community, so I love it. So my point is that if you do not have time for your self-care, then please, please, please consider doing a morning routine, because if you start off your day with being grateful, you're such less of an asshole for the rest of the day. Because you wake up and you're like, I am grateful for this roof, for this water, for this phone call, for this last night. So when things come at you, you're like, wow. You kind of, I look at it as kind of like a bubble, a gratitude bubble. And so with my mom, so I have different programs, I have different projects, but one is a tribe right now. It's an accountability tribe. And every day we text each other what we were grateful for and what an affirmation. So who practices affirmations? Yes, so affirmations are I am statements. And they are statements that you maybe aren't currently feeling or projecting, but your future self. And your future self is so important that, we can't make decisions every day based on our past, right? And I'm not getting into life coaching, that's your wheelhouse, but there's some fascinating things about your future self that I love. It's just kind of like the idea that if you told a child that they're gonna walk and they're like, well, I've never done that before, how am I gonna do that? They're not gonna turn off that idea. So if I told you that, you're going to be an expert in Pinterest, and you're like, well, I've never done that before, how am I gonna do that? Well, if you're forward thinking and you just think about where you wanna be and make decisions from the future self, then you'll more likely be able to make decisions, right? Because our brain loves to be comfortable and it doesn't like change. So we have to kind of, mindfuck ourselves to really put ourselves in the future, okay? So the morning routine is really important. And then gratitude. Gratitude is something that I feel will change everything for you. So I want to take a pulse. Is there anyone in this room that we could do like a live kind of thing who's really struggling to find 30 minutes to themselves? Because let's break it down and see where we can find the time for her. So anyone really struggling in that self-care, like I really can't? Yes, okay. So for you, it's automate, delegate, execute, and empower, right? Because you have a business and you have a lot of things. So, and here's the kicker. We all know what we need to do. We all know, I don't have the answers. You have the answers. But maybe we can just push you and allow you and give you permission to work on what you need to work on. Okay, so where do you think you're spending more time than necessary?
Well, probably emails and social media and here but not here.
So emails, does anyone use templates for their emails? Yes, okay. So templates, basically, if you have something you're saying more than once a week, make a template. You can use Evernote, you can pick a Word document, and so it's a sandwich. So the top of it is customized. Oh, hi Sarah, it's, say something about Sarah, and then the whole meat about how you could rent the space out. Let's just say you get a lot of inquiries about that, right? Well, this is the bread and butter of the space, so this is what it be, and then end with something personalized. So that way you don't have those keystrokes for that middle part. So then save those templates and then like rinse and repeat, that'll save you some time. And then also only open your email when you have time to respond. So there's no point in opening your email and then we're wasting our brain right there. Yeah, so I actually took my work email off my phone. So, and it's hard, so I only see it when I wake up, and if you think that's gonna hurt your business, I think you have to train your audience, train your clients, that it's not appropriate at 2 a.m. to give you a call, and to expect. Yes, question?
One of the things that I do is when I'm busy and when I'm not able to get to everything, for certain days of the week, I'll say I'm only responding to emails between this time and this time. If it's an emergency, contact me here, but I only even check the email like once a day, and you'll hear from me at these times.
Yes.
And it's just on auto response.
Yeah.
So they know not to expect me.
Yeah.
So I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, it's not even on my phone, which is really kind of gangster.
It's actually kind of cool.
The email is not on your phone? My work email's not on my phone.
My work email's not on my phone. Does it make me nervous? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the people who really need me have my phone number.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
And they can text you.
Yep.
Or they can
And
see my
reason why I'm
Instagram.
on
But
this
I
is
mean,
I had to set something up and I called, I bought a place in Ottawa, and so I'm calling the propane company, right?
Yeah.
And I had to give them my email address for them to send me the contract or this kind of stuff. And it didn't come all day yesterday, and it didn't come this morning. So I called, like, oh my God, you know, did I give you the wrong email address? What's happening? You know, she's like, no, I just didn't get to it, I'm getting to it.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like, oh, how embarrassing, you know, like.
No, it's just that we're
She's
in that
like
day
on
and
this
age.
very nice pace, and I'm like,
She was
you know, freaking out, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like so pushing, or, you know, so.
This reminds me of a
It's
story,
very nice
a
to-
story of
You know, it's interesting, cause, this morning, it's funny what the universe puts out there.
Yeah.
This morning they had a thing on Good Morning America. It was about taking a vacation from your phone. And it was, you know, and it was, and
Yeah.
and, no, but what was interesting was, that it was like, they're like, if you charge it, don't charge it in your bedroom, so it's the
Right.
first thing that you grab
Right.
in the morning, have an alarm clock instead of your phone. There was something about putting, and this was interesting, putting a rubber band on your phone. So every time, it's like a mindset thing, that every time you go to your phone, there's a rubber band there. You know, so every time you have to take off the rubber band, you have to go through the, you know. And then they were also, and the other thing that they were saying that I thought was interesting was, turn your phone to black and white. So it's
Somebody's
not,
high.
so it's,
Somebody's high.
but that's what they were saying, was, this woman was saying, was turn your phone to black and white, because then it's boring.
I didn't know that
So
was
you
an
don't
option.
spend so much time.
Well, there's a
can see
app
that.
called Moments. It'll tell you it'll track how long you
Oh.
picked up how many times you picked up your phone and how long
Oh,
you've been on your
gosh.
phone, and so it's crazy. But I understand the draw to social media because it's comfortable and it's an escape. But I also understand that we are running a business, and that for me, I don't have the luxury of not monetizing. I don't have the luxury of, you know, this unwavering thing because of my past career. So I am a productivity, like, I geek out on this stuff. So one of the things I want to share with you ladies is this little contraption. It's just a time blocker. And basically what it is instead of turning your phone, because all of a sudden, you know, you're on your phone and you want to use a timer, but you're like, oh my God, Amazon's having this sale. Wait a minute. Oh wait, what pizza am I? I'm going to take this BuzzFeed test and all these things, right? So that's not helpful. But if you have one of these battery operated guys, you turn it for 15 minutes, you say 15 minutes of email, and that is it. Or 15 minutes of social media engagement, because that's all you really need. You need to go in, you got to go out, you got to say, you know, hello and all that stuff, or you need to talk to your competitors, people, you know, all these, you know, you're doing strategic things on your Instagram, and then when it's almost 15 minutes, it starts flashing, and that's it, and then just turn over. So if you need, you know, this is on Amazon. I can put a link for you.
Just a note, because I did buy that, but I ended up returning it because my kids kept turning it over.
Oh.
And I would never know how far I had left.
Oh, that's too bad.
It'll tell you, there's
A lock?
No,
Oh,
no, no.
there was, I know, but like
A
if I
countdown.
had it somewhere,
Okay.
my daughter's like, oh, it's like, what?
Well, you get my point though. Set a timer that's not your phone, and then
Yeah.
and there's really batch work. The other thing too is batch working. So spend the day only looking at people who want to rent this space, or spend a day only talking to contractors. Spend half a morning, and then organize it so that you're more efficient, because the more our brain has to work harder, the more inefficient we are, the more overwhelmed we are, the more we're just gonna kick back, drink wine, and watch Real Housewives. So,
Wait, we're not supposed to do that?
but no.
Real
But,
small wives.
okay, so templates you can do.
Yeah,
We'll
to
batch
think
your
about.
time. You'll have a productivity thing. What else do you think you can delegate?
Well, I delegate a lot to this one, and that's why I was able to go to Sweden and turn off my phone for most of it, and that was wonderful.
Oh, that's
Thanks to
good.
Kathy.
Do you automate anything?
My lifeline.
Yeah.
Do I automate anything? No, and I should. I think, and you know, I mean, the constant contact for our email blast, that would probably be the only thing that I.
Yeah, so
You
you
know,
could batch. So, I have a Facebook group for Avenue Mama, and I have pre-written 7 days of posts already, and I just scheduled them. And it took me 3 more minutes than getting my brain reset up to do just the one post. So when you post anything, there's on to the left of the post, there's a little clock. You press on that, you can schedule.
Okay.
So I'm scheduling out.
Can you do that for like Instagram as
You
well?
can through Plan or Planoly. You can
Oh,
draft it,
okay.
but it'll automatically tell you, do you want this to go out?
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a good thing
There's
because
another one called later.com.
Oh, yeah,
which will
that too.
automatically do
Oh.
it for you.
Yeah, I have that, and I can't figure out how to use it. So I thought I nailed it one day, and then it never posted.
So what about if you're somebody like
It was like
me,
later.
okay,
who's not techie,
okay.
okay? So everybody talks about Instagram, all the blah, 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 use this app, use that app, do
Hire
this,
out.
do that,
Hire
do
out.
that.
Yeah.
I'm like, hello, I can do Facebook,
Yeah.
I got Facebook down, so I could do Facebook, but
Yeah.
like, I see other people's, I see other people's stuff and I'm like, gosh, if I could do something, not to say mine isn't as good, but, to just not be doing the same thing all the time.
Right.
But then I don't wanna waste time, taking away learning it.
Totally hear
know?
you, and I totally think it's about your zone of genius. How can you make the money you need to make? Is it in social media? I don't believe it is entirely up to us to do our own social media. I have somebody helping me out, and I really believe that email list is really important. Email marketing is really important. Having creative space to dream up bigger programs and products. Collaborations are really important. Things that are gonna move the needle, because again, social media engagement, yes, you should do it, but you can give yourself 15 minutes to do it. If it's something that makes you wanna, poke your eyes out, then you could also, there's so many VAs out there, so many virtual assistants. You could go on Upwork even and get someone to help you out on that. You could do templates. I have a girl, full disclosure, anyone who has followed me on my photography or my Avenue Mom account, she cut and paste, she says, thank you so much for following me, how did you find me? She doesn't engage with them, but it relieves the pressure of me having to go in and engage, because I want every person to know that I value them being there, and that to me feels authentic. And so that's what she's doing, and it's a minimal nominal price. And do I have that kind of money to utilize? Yes and no. I feel like I'm going back to my zone of genius. It's kind of like housework, right? We spend a lot of time on housework, right? And wouldn't it be nice to get like a once a week person to help out our house? And so I don't have that, by the way. I'm working up to that, but so you can say, well, I don't have the money for that. Well, you would if you spent more time on your business figuring out what is the moneymaker. If you went back to your past clients to figure out, what are they liking the most? Are you asking for those Yelp reviews? Because those are the things that drive the needle, right? Again, commenting on Facebook, all that stuff doesn't really drive the needle or move the needle. It's really these touch points, these delight and surprise and delighting your customers. It is the email marketing, because we do not own our followers on Facebook and Instagram. If those things go away, you have no way to contact them. If there's a big, imagine if there's a big virus and it hit all of social media, they're never gonna hear from you again, and you have no way of reaching them again. So you have to email them, and you have to create value in those emails so they don't unsubscribe. And it's not about numbers, ladies. As a tangent of social media, please, 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 do not worry about numbers and followers. Take care of the people who are already there. They've followed you for a reason. And if you have people who don't know you at all and are following you, you are an influencer. They care about what you think because they decided to follow you. So it's kind of like this idea that Jenna Kutcher, she has a really good podcast, says that it's like when people are so worried about followers, it's like all their current followers are, let's say you're at a dinner party and they've already come to your house, but you're not concerned about them. You're on the street being like, hey, who wants to come to my dinner party? It's kind of that same thing. Whereas if you just nurture and love on the people who are already there, everything else will take care of itself. So don't worry about, that traffic, let the traffic speak, offer like the whole jab, 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 right hook. Do you guys know about this theory? It's about really providing, giving before you ask for a sale, before you ask for them to exit out of their Instagram to read your blog. It can't be every day. I was guilty of this when I was first coming out as a photographer. I was like, oh, look at this family, look at this newborn, do you want to go on my mini session? Oh, da da da. And it doesn't work. You want to put yourself, if you're a personal brand, you want to show people the other side of business. You want to give them, you have to think about what most of our clients are probably women, what pain points does she have when she hits her pillow at night? And then talk to that. And then talk to your ideal client day in and day out. Give her stuff to help her out. And then it's a warm process, and then you can ask for the sale, right? I don't know how I got off tangent with that. But anyway, I'm pretty much kind of wrapping up. If anyone has questions about productivity or social media, I'm happy to talk on that a little bit. But my whole thing about the self-care prescription is that turn to gratitude always, B- level work, progress over perfection, and have a morning routine. When you have a morning routine, whether you wake up, you stretch for 5 minutes, you meditate, whatever, you drink water, you do not touch your phone for the first hour if possible. And then you only, email when you have the time to respond, otherwise you're just duplicating your efforts. Having email templates is another way. So all these time hacks are a great way for you to have time back to yourself so that you could read 20 pages a day and so forth. So I don't know if there's anything else I can support you with as far as your
I guess
concept.
it's just, also fitting in my, figuring out with my kids and getting them ready for the day and all that kind of stuff too. So it's just, that's been my challenge is
And how old are
looking
they?
at almost 2 and almost 4. So
Okay,
it's just,
littles.
so it's, it's the emails and it's social media and all that kind of stuff too, but then it also is waking up and getting breakfast ready and doing lunches and getting them, and obviously my husband's a big help too, but my boy's up at 6 a.m. every day, no
Yeah.
matter what,
Right.
so, it's, what time do I wake up at 5? I mean, just like,
Especially
especially not.
if you're supposed to, but I
Yeah,
It's
that's
hard when
a
you're
little-
not the one controlling what time you
Yeah.
wake up. I feel you on that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So there are hacks for it's again batching, right? So you can buy one of those
Thank you so much. Thank you.
those expandable things where you can put like at Target, what is that called? One of those accordion things that you can put shoes in or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
Those
so-
little things.
So you can set up 7 days of clothes for them, like ahead of time, to make sure from head to toe everything they need. Right, you can do that. You can put out all of your morning material, anything that is not gonna spoil overnight.
Yeah.
Cereal already in the bowl, like after they go to sleep. Like, because even getting to the cupboard, you can have these people grab you and
Yeah.
it's hard, right? So you do all the stuff that is not gonna spoil overnight, everything you can. If you have a smoothie, make it the night before, make a big batch of it, so you're not redoing
Yeah.
things over and over again.
great.
So the clothes for that, the other thing with laundry, I keep all my kids' clothes downstairs. We have a 2-story, because this is where the laundry is, because I don't wanna walk up and downstairs, and we hang out downstairs, so I don't wanna, if they spill, which they of course will 5,000 times a
Yep.
day,
Yeah.
I'm gonna change them, and I'm gonna change them downstairs.
Mhm.
I have toothbrushes in every bathroom, because for me, sometimes I may not be able to brush my teeth, but I will have a higher likelihood
yeah.
if they're everywhere. And can I just tell you, I went to the dentist today, and talking about surprising delighting, I'm gonna give a shout out to Dunlap Dentistry. When my kids walked in, they're like, "Hi Max, hi Avery," and I was like, "You guys
my kid's
you
name.
study customer service, and good for you." And I will never, and the dentist played with my kids, and so one of the things I want to share with Kaiser is that one of the management things that we talked about with service recovery is that when you have a good experience, you will tell 3 to 7. When you have a bad experience, you can tell 33 or more. So think about that, right? So are we working on our business to prevent these bad experiences? Are we going to read every Yelp review to counter? Are we asking for those Yelp reviews? Are we doing anything to, give us the best chance of gaining traffic and earning that trust and getting that retention, right? So, so service, I feel, is super important, and I think we forget about it because we're doing this little minutia. We're chasing our tail, and we're having difficulty seeing the bigger picture. But in order for us to be successful female business owners, we have to put our time where things matter, where it's gonna convert. Okay, so there's a lot of, I can talk all day about brand strategy, but I won't, you guys know what you need to do. You ladies absolutely know, you just have to do it, and you just have to be disciplined. And lastly, I will close with goals. So goals, okay, so when I was in the pharmacy, the likelihood of someone to stop smoking on their own was less than 10%. If they took a medication, it went up to in their 20-something%. If they took a medication and a class, it was up to about 45%. And if they had a coach, then they're in their 70s, right? So to get through a goal, it's really important to declare it. Tell somebody about your goal. What is your goal? Is it Whole30? Is that something? Declare it. Make you accountable. Makes yourself accountable. And then also find like-minded people in that goal that you want. So then you can, rally around each other for that. So the thing with businesswomen as business owners as well is that we get sidetracked. So I also offer you to create 15-minute scheduling time blocks for things to be done. And that way it's more digestible. So like 15 minutes of email, 15 minutes of social media, and so forth. And then lastly, when you write out your to-do list, please have a column next to it and put 3 letters, why. Like, why are you doing this? What is your why? What is the most important thing? Where am I spending my time? Because I tell you, if your girlfriend called you up and needed you for 30 minutes, you would give it to her because you want to give it to her. But you have to be your own best friend and give it to yourself to have that 30 minutes to follow your goals and do the things that is going to make a difference in your life, whether it's business or not, right? So when you decide what you need to do in a day, look at 3 things, because we don't want to overwhelm ourselves. Circle 3 things off that mighty to-do list, and then look at your why and let that drive you instead. So anyway, I'm Annie. That's my community is Avenue Mama. My photography is Annie Vovian. I don't do drugs anymore. I don't do pharmacy anymore. But I really hope and invite you ladies to trust me. Life is really short, and it can be very beautiful. And self-care is not just manicure and pedicures. It really is creating a life that you don't want to step away from, and clearing out the mindset that's not working for you. It is really healing. Where's my healer? It's really healing. So I just invite you to just spend time on working on those kinds of things. So thank you.
Thank you so much.